Imagine the glamorous life of a young model. Photo shoots, fashion shows, and high society events. Now, imagine it all shattered by an unimaginable act of betrayal. This is the horrifying story of Abby Choy, a rising star in Hong Kong's fashion scene, whose life was tragically cut short. This tale of greed, deception, and brutality will leave you questioning how well we truly know those closest to us. Join us as we unravel the chilling details of the Abby Choy murder case. Abby Choy was born in 1994 in Hong Kong. From a young age, she had a passion for fashion and quickly made a name for herself in Hong Kong's modeling scene. Abby wasn't just a model, she was also a socialite, a businesswoman, and a mother of four. She had worked with luxury brands, graced magazine covers, and attended high-profile events. Despite her success, Abby's personal life had its challenges. She was married to Alex Kwong, a man from a family with financial problems and a history of shady business dealings. Abby and Alex eventually divorced, but they stayed in contact for the sake of their children. Little did Abby know, this connection would lead to her untimely death. Abby's relationship with the Kwong family became strained, especially over financial issues. Despite helping them financially after the divorce, tensions grew over money and property, setting the stage for a deadly betrayal. On February 21, 2023, Abby Choy was last seen by her family. She was reportedly on her way to pick up her children from school, but instead of going straight there, Abby took a detour. It was later revealed that she had agreed to meet with members of the Kwong family to discuss financial matters. This would be the last time she was seen alive. Anthony Kwong picked Abby up and drove her to a house in the village of Lung Mei Tsuen in Tai Po, a property recently rented by his father, Kwong Kao. The family had lured her there under the pretense of resolving their financial disputes. But in reality, they had something far more sinister in mind. As she entered the house, Abby had no idea she was walking into a deadly trap set by the very people she once trusted. When Abby didn't return home that day, her family grew worried. Hours turned into days. And on February 24, 2023, she was officially reported missing. The police quickly launched a search, focusing on her last known whereabouts. Acting on a tip, police arrived at the rented house in Lung Mei Tsuen. What they found inside would haunt them forever. The house appeared empty at first, but as officers searched more thoroughly, they made a horrifying discovery. Inside the small kitchen, police found a refrigerator containing parts of a dismembered human body. A large pot on the stove, which appeared to be boiling, contained what was later identified as Abby Choy's skull. The sight was so gruesome that even the most seasoned officers were left shaken. The dismemberment was not only a brutal attempt to conceal her identity, but also showed the deep hatred behind the crime. The investigation was now a murder case, and the hunt for those responsible began immediately. With the discovery of Abby's remains, the investigation intensified. Police quickly focused on the Kwong family, who had been the last to see Abby alive. Alex Kwong, his father Kwong Kao, and his brother Anthony were all brought in for questioning. Their stories had inconsistencies, raising suspicions. Investigators found out that Abby had been involved in significant financial dealings with the Kwong family. These dealings included disputes over large sums of money, property, and business investments. Abby was planning to sell a luxury property she owned, which was being used by the Kwong family. This likely intensified the tension, leading them to plan her murder. The forensic evidence recovered from the crime scene was overwhelming. Tools used to dismember Abby's body were found, along with traces of her blood throughout the house. Additionally, phone records showed communication between the Kwong family members leading up to and after the murder, indicating a coordinated effort to cover up the crime. With the evidence mounting, police arrested Alex Kwong, his father, and his brother on charges of murder. Alex's mother was also arrested for attempting to help cover up the crime. The arrests shocked the public, as the Kwong family's brutal betrayal of someone they once called family became clear. The case quickly became a media sensation, with people across Hong Kong and beyond following the developments closely. The gruesome nature of the crime, combined with the betrayal by family members, captivated the public's attention and led to widespread outrage. When the case went to trial, the courtroom was filled with journalists, onlookers, and grieving family members. The prosecution presented a detailed case against the Kwong family, showing the overwhelming evidence of their guilt. The trial became a public spectacle, with each new detail adding to the horror. Prosecutors highlighted the careful planning that went into the murder, arguing that the Kwong family had coldly calculated every step. They presented forensic evidence that linked the tools found at the scene directly to the suspects. Digital evidence, including phone records and CCTV footage, placed the Kwong family at the center of the crime. The defense team attempted to challenge the evidence, but the case against the Kwong family was too strong. Witnesses testified about the family's financial struggles and the growing tensions between them and Abby. The jury was left with little doubt about the family's guilt. In the end, the court found all the accused guilty of murder and related charges. The judge condemned their actions as inhumane and barbaric, sentencing them to life in prison. Justice was served, but the verdict could never undo the pain and loss suffered by Abby's family and friends. The verdict brought some closure, but it couldn't erase the horror of what happened. Abby Choy's murder shocked not just Hong Kong, but the world. The brutal nature of the crime, carried out by those she once trusted, left a deep scar on the community. Abby's family and friends gathered to remember her not as a victim, but as a loving mother, a talented model, and a kind-hearted woman who touched many lives. The tragedy of her death brought people together, sparking discussions about domestic violence, betrayal, and the need for justice. While justice was served in the courtroom, the pain of losing Abby will never fully heal for those who knew and loved her. Her story serves as a grim reminder that even in the closest of relationships, darkness can sometimes hide beneath the surface. The story of Abby Choy is a heartbreaking example of how greed and betrayal can lead to unspeakable acts of violence. It reminds us to be vigilant, to cherish our loved ones, and to always be aware of the complexities in our relationships. Abby's life was full of promise, but it was cut short in the most tragic way possible. Let's remember Abby for who she was, a bright, talented, and loving individual whose light was extinguished far too soon. May her story remind us all of the importance of love, trust, and compassion in a world that can sometimes be very dark. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of the unexplained and the macabre. And remember, sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones that are true. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.